Hello guys, TavHD here and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be looking at another M4 Mac Mini accessory. This is the Minisopuru M4PRO Dock, and they have been kind enough to send this out to me to make this video. If you've seen any of my recent videos, you'll know I've just upgraded to an M4 Mac Mini and I bought this CalDigit dock, and someone commented, and I even mentioned in that video, I could have got a cheaper dock if I wanted to, and one of these is what I looked at before deciding on the CalDigit one. This isn't really comparable. The CalDigit one has a lot more ports, but this is cool and I will show you why in this video. So this is the Mini4PRO dock that they sell. They sell lots of other models too. They asked me which one I wanted to look at, and this is the one that I chose. I'll put on screen some of the other offerings that they have too. This one is the stand hub for 2024 Mac Mini M4 and M4 Pro, and it supports an M.2 NVMe SSD in the bottom. It supports up to a 4TB drive, which is very cool. You can see a picture of the device on the front, and you know what's cool about this? It has a cutout out of the back so you can reach the power button. Now, you'll know I've complained about this, and I think it's just a little bit stupid how to turn the Mac Mini on. You've got to lift it up to reach under it to turn it on, so this will make it a lot easier for me to actually turn on my computer. I know a lot of people have complained about it. Is it a massive deal breaker? No, but this will certainly help. So let's look at some of the features. Switch button design, as I've just mentioned. M.2 SSD slot, like I've already said. It can output 4K at 60Hz through the HDMI port on the back, and multifunction, so you've got your SD card slots, your USB and whatever else. The specs are also on the back here as well if you'd like to take a look at those. So it comes with a USB-C male 3.2 Gen 2 cable to connect this to the Mac Mini. HDMI port, as I've said, 4K at 60Hz. The USB ports on this are USB 2.0, so strictly for peripherals really. If you wanted to plug a hard drive in, just plug it into the main device, because these are only 480 megabits per second. SD card slot there as well. USB jack 3.5mm, nice to have. And then of course the SSD slot, M.2 up to 4TB, 10 gigabits per second. So that's enough talking about what's on the box. Let's open this and get my first impressions of the device itself. So nice packaging, and here it is in a plastic bag. We'll put that off to the side and we can lift this out, and what do we get underneath? We get our little USB cable. Nice quality braided cable, nice and short. It doesn't need to be long because the Mac Mini sits on top of it, so it's nice that there is an appropriate length, high quality cable included. So that is very nice. We get the quick start guide here. Hopefully we won't have to use that because it should be quite a straightforward setup. We get a screwdriver and the little standoff and screw if you're installing an SSD, and you also get some foamy heatsink stuff there as well if you wish. Now I won't be putting an SSD in this today, but it's good to know that I can and I will do in the future when I require more local storage. So it's good to know that the opportunity is there, because of course with these modern Macs there is no expansion at all, so it'd be very nice to put a drive in this when I need to. There we are, here it is, and as you can see there is the cutout. And first impression, this looks like it could be an Apple product. Looking at the silver looks to match. Yeah, it seems like a quality product. So as I said, we get our two USB 2.0s. They're labelled, for example, keyboard and mouse, but of course you can plug whatever the heck you want into those, but just remember it is not 3.0 speed. We've got our card slots there. On the top is the indent ring for where the Mac Mini will sit. Turning it round to the back is our third USB 2.0, our multi-jack, HDMI out, and then our USB in to connect it to the Mac. Then on the bottom, that's where we can put in our SSD if you so wish. Alright, so for the first time let's put our Mac Mini on top. I've got it backwards because I'm silly. There it is, correct way around. Mac Mini should line up perfectly into the rubber ring. There we are. That's seated perfectly. Yeah, that looks good to me. Hopefully it comes across well on camera, but the colour match between the Mac Mini and the dock is actually really good. The size is pretty much the same. Nice that it's got that gap so the Mac Mini can still breathe, and that looks like something that Apple would sell on their store. It looks great, it doesn't look out of place at all. And of course if we turn it around, we've got our cutout so we can actually press the power button without being inconvenienced, so that is great. Okay, so I've now booted up the computer, I have plugged in the dock. Now I've got one of my displays connected to my CalDigit dock at the moment, and the other connected to the native HDMI port on the Mac Mini. Now both of my displays are 4K 60Hz, so what I'm going to do is switch the HDMI from the Mac to the dock and let's see if that works. So I'll just pull it out so I can see what I'm doing. Unplug it from the Mac Mini, that's one of my displays off. Plug it into the dock and it should automatically come to life. And there we are. That looks like it's working just fine. There we go. Both of them working. That is great to see. Now, one of the downsides of modern Macs is that they have no USB-A ports. Now, I might just be living in the past still having USB-A devices, but I'm quite happy living in the past, so this does give you some Type-A ports. As I said, only 2.0 speed, but this flash drive I've plugged in is only USB 2.0 anyway, and would you look at that? It's showing up on my desktop, and it has opened it just fine. Apologies for the lighting, but there we are. It looks like this thing's working properly. Let's now try the SD card slot, make sure that works, and if it does, I'm very, very happy with this. Now, I'm not actually sure if there's anything on this SD card or whether it's formatted correctly for macOS, but we can give it a go anyway. It's just a friction slot. It doesn't click in, you don't have to push it to pull out, it's just in or out like the SD card slots on a Mac, but it looks like it is coming up, as you can see. Okay, so here is the dock. I found it on Amazon. It is the iExpandMate Mini4 Pro. Here are the pictures that they have with all the features of it down there, and it's currently retailing for £89.89. That is with 25% off. The RRP is £119.89, and if we go down to the reviews, we can see that out of 5 stars, it's currently got a 4.3, and that is from 88 global reviews. So it looks like on the whole, people are enjoying this product. And I think it's important to discuss that this little Mac Mini dock isn't necessarily comparable to the more high-end, expensive docks. As we've already said, the USB ports are only 2.0, and it is quite a tiny little thing. If you compare that to my CalDigit dock, this has 18 ports on it. It was £350. It's got more high-speed ports. It's just a more high-end device, but it's of course a lot bigger and a lot more chunky. I think the main benefit of this is that you can fit an SSD in the bottom, so that is great. It doesn't really add anything to the footprint of the Mac just sits on it. It looks seamless, it takes up no extra space on your desk, and I think that is the selling point of this device. It's just a convenient small way to add extra storage. You get a HDMI port and you've got some USB ports on there as well. So I think for the price that this dock is, it is absolutely great. It just blends in absolutely perfectly and it gives you that expansion that you need. I'm very happy to have this, and I will be putting a drive in it just to give me extra storage, because this is the base model Mac Mini with, I think, 256 gigabytes of storage, so it is very easy to fill that up. So the fact we can add an extra 4 terabytes to this is definitely cool. So I don't think there's really much more else to say. I'm very happy with this, and I'm very grateful to Minisopuru for sending this out. It's great that I can add an extra accessory to my new M4 adventure. So thank you very much for watching this video. I'd say if you're interested in something like this, this is definitely a good one to buy. So thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to know anything more about it, make sure to check it out using the link in my description, and ask me any questions in the comments if you like. So thank you again for watching, thank you for sending this to me, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.